started with the obvious question. Your paywall is still working. Can you share some results?
Yes, it's a delight to be here. So, first of all, we call it our digital subscription model. Because the term paywall suggests that there's an iron gate there, and that's not the case. It's working extremely well. I'm not going to give you new numbers, but we have used the number that we are significantly over 100,000 paid subscribers. This does not include the 100,000 people who are currently getting the services free because of a marketing promotional deal we did with Lincoln. And Lincoln tapped into our most engaged user base. So those people are likely to, we believe, likely when this is over, to sign up as well. So we are very excited by the opening of this. Please remember, it's a month and a half. And a month and a half does not a story make. But it's a very strong opening. And here's one last fun thought. We've actually seen an uptick in print, in home delivery subscriptions, because people know that if you get the Times delivered to your home, you get the bundles, the digital bundles, all access free. And that is actually so we're seeing a little uptick in print as well, and that's nice. In 2000, we had 640 or so home delivery subscribers for 2 years or more. Our loyalists is the term we have for them. That number is now 820,000, from 640 roughly to 820, and growing, and growing. So what we're seeing is that print still has vitality to it, and as long as it does, we will meet the needs of our users, of our readers, and that's the key thought. We are going to continue to meet the needs of our users and readers in ways that they want to gain access to our high-quality journalism and our remarkable advertising that helps support that.
A lot was made initially, I guess, back in March about what was covered and what was not covered as far as the digital subscription plan and with the meter, and exceptions as far as social media and Google. So I was wondering if you could sort of talk about how some of those decisions were made and how social media fits into this bigger plan as far as the digital subscribers.
Well, there's very, very little in the New York Times that's not under the pay model, under the subscription model. The major thought we had is as we move more and more to social, where people are going to be telling you what they think you should read by linking, we have to stay part of that ecosystem. So let's just talk about Twitter for a second, all right? A New York Times story is tweeted. A link to a New York Times story is tweeted every 4 seconds. Every 4 seconds. The New York Times has more Twitter followers, and I've got these numbers right here, more Twitter followers than any other newspaper, at least in the United States, by a factor of almost, I think, 4. So we have 3.2 million Twitter followers. Is that right? Okay. If David Pogue, who's one of our journalists, if he was a newspaper, he'd be number 3. If Nick Kristof were a newspaper, he'd be number 4. And by the way, number 2, which I skipped, is our T magazine feed, The Moment. So in a way, the top 4 tweeted news organizations, if you will, are the New York Times. And that's a powerful world. It's a powerful resource. It's a powerful, and it's where we just have to be. So we worked very hard to make ourselves comfortable with the fact that we were going to build into the system the ability to allow people to interact through us and with us, and at the same time build a digital subscription base.
Let's talk about the research that went on into deciding to pursue this model. We heard the Financial Times here yesterday saying that you have just emulated a model, it's a system. Why do you think it's the right model for the New York Times? And how difficult was it to sell it within the newsroom and within your own corporation?
The newsroom was not an issue. I mean, look, journalists, the quality of journalism is expensive. It is. It's expensive, and it's not getting any cheaper with the Arab Spring, with what's happened in Japan, and we believe at the New York Times, Media Group, which includes the International Herald Tribune, as you all know, we firmly believe in having eyewitness boots on the ground, real reporting, people who are there, even at great risk. And as many of you in this audience know, it was not very long ago that we had 4 of our journalists in Libya suddenly disappear on us. So it was about the most terrifying moment I've had as publisher of the New York Times. Thank goodness they all came out safely. But that's what we stand for, and we need to support that. Our journalists knew that, and so the newsroom was not an issue here. But it was a great collective discussion with our digital, with our print, with our combined, and as many of you know, we have combined print and digital in our organizations. Are people going to be moving to mobile devices? Well, we already know they have. And we can talk a little bit about the iPhone, and I know you have some of those numbers about how we're doing on the iPhone. And there are new devices that are coming out. The iPad is amazing, and we love our relationship with them and what we've been able to do. But let's get specific to mobile with some numbers.
I would just, first of all, I would just say that on mobile we have over 6 million downloads, and on our iPad over 2 million. But I think one of the things that's really important about this, as we said earlier, the app-driven world and our digital subscription plan, is that we want to create value through all the products that we create for our readers. And to the extent now that we are charging for our content, as we think about new apps and as we think about new ways to formulate our information for our audiences, we are thinking about whether or not we should be creating new apps as standalone businesses or as a way to add value to the existing products now that we have within our digital subscription plan.
We're updating regularly. There were 3 stories on the iPad when I was just sitting here for a few minutes that were not in the paper on our top news site. We've got to all be doing that. We hold stories back now from the printed paper. We will have a specific story we think we want to put on the website at 7 a.m. New York time, because we know that that's a peak time for people coming to our website. We are a matrix organization, and that often makes us a little slower than we should be. Often it means the decisions are the right ones, but they should have been made a year earlier. So maybe that's one of the big challenges we face. The newsroom and the business side do engage in digital conversations on multiple levels. It's not, and that's been a challenge, I think, to actually recognize that the days where the newsroom would do the news and the business side would do everything else, it's not like that anymore. You've really got to have buy-in on some critical issues involving news and business, because it's about design. We are in a process of testing and learning, and all of us have to be there. We used to have a colleague who was the CEO of the New York Times Company, Russ Lewis, who had a wonderful phrase: if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. And if that's not the mentality we must embrace, then I don't know what it is. You must get past, you must start testing, you must recognize that if you're not occasionally failing, you're not trying hard enough.